Hey guys, Sri Lankan Sammi, retire in Southeast Asia with Sammi. Here today in another video talking to you about how did I end up here in Sri Lanka? Why did I choose Sri Lanka? Why did I give up living in Canada to go to South Korea? Why did I give up South Korea to come here? Join me, why don't you? With this video, we're going to talk about facts and realities about living life. See you in just one moment. Hey, I'm Sri Lankan Sammi. Let's talk about life after 50. Real talk, no BS. How I went from Canada via South Korea to now chasing my forever home in Southeast Asia. Join me for this next chapter. Hey guys, thanks for joining the channel. I'm Sri Lankan Sammi, a Canadian Sri Lankan citizen. Brand new channel, so excited. And I'm so excited that you decided to join me. Stick around and find out what it is that we're trying to achieve here. It would really help me if you commented and let me know what you think. What do you want to learn? What do you want to find out? What advice can I give you? I'm not an expert, but I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. And I'm here to share those mistakes with you so that maybe you can learn from them and we can share ideas on how others can succeed and what I've done to succeed so far, because I am happy. We'll talk about that just right in a moment. Don't forget, please subscribe, like, comment, hit that bell icon because you really need to know when the next video is coming out. As well, if you could comment. Commenting really helps the algorithm get me in front of people I need to get in front of, and your help would be so appreciated because I do want to get monetized. If you want to support the channel, you can buy merch, click the link down below, or buy me a coconut. That would really help. I also offer life coaching too. So let's get into the story here. I am living in Sri Lanka. A little overcast and drizzly today, but it is a beautiful day. How can you not love living in paradise? And why am I so happy? Well, I had a full-time career in Canada as an executive at the phone company, making my final year in Canada in 2007, I made $500,000 Canadian. And that was 20 years ago. So can you imagine what that would be worth today with inflation? And then I moved to South Korea. Well, because it was supposed to be for 1 year or less, but I wasn't happy with my life. I got divorced. I wasn't happy with my job. It was stressful. We were in the middle of a financial crisis and I just wasn't happy. And I had friends say, you can't run away from your problems. But you can, and I did. And I lived my life in South Korea. I ended up getting my permanent residence work visa. I worked some great jobs for some great companies. But, in the background, as a freelancer, I was a teacher. So I taught kids, I taught adults, I worked in private education academies, and I made a crap ton of money. Now, the best part of it was that I was a permanent resident. So basically, I could do any job I wanted. And I got a job working as a VIP host at eventually the biggest nightclub in Korea. And my job was to drink and talk to pretty girls, basically. That's what I did. And it was spectacular. I had way too much fun. And it comes down to my saying, learn to live life. Don't let life live you. I have it tattooed on my arm. And it comes down to my saying, don't get a job, don't get an education to get a job. I want to be a doctor, so I have to do this. No. Everybody wants that. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a content creator. I want to be a this or that. No. You should spend your time figuring out what you're good at doing, what you enjoy doing, and then figure out a way to get paid to do it. I love to socialize, and I like to party, and I like to make sure people are having fun. So I wasn't a big drinker, and I wasn't I didn't flirt or anything with my guests. I just had fun. I socialized. So I was good at it, and I did such a great job. You guys can go back to my old channel, Sri Lankan Sammi, and you can see the videos from those days. That's when I started my channel. So now, why did I come to Sri Lanka? Why did I give up South Korea? A couple reasons. We're gonna get into that right now. So I had a great job in Canada, but the stress was gonna kill me. I was gonna die. I was overweight, I was unhealthy, high blood pressure, cholesterol. I think I was over 120 kilos. I'm 75 kilos now. I moved to South Korea because my friend told me it was a good opportunity. With my education and my personality and my background and my age, I could get a good job teaching online, teaching face-to-face. There was no online teaching back then. You know, you're making $50 to $100 an hour, right? What the heck was that? Oh, it's like a little lizard. Walked right in front of me. That's cute. That's cute. I want a lizard as a pet, like a bearded dragon or something like that. Anyway, got distracted. So I'm just walking around my neighborhood. I live in the countryside, so there's like really nothing around here, but I thought you guys would like, instead of me just sitting around my home or in my home office, plus I get a little exercise. That's the other good thing. I get my 10,000 steps in. So my Canadian Korean friend, who was in Korea at the time with her Canadian boyfriend, said that I could do well. So the idea was to go there for a year, make some money, and then decide on my next steps. Also, I have traveled all over the world, but I hadn't been to Southeast Asia at that point yet. I had traveled Central America, the Caribbean, Europe, the Mediterranean, but I'd never been to Southeast Asia, never. So I said, hey, this will be a great opportunity for me to take advantage of Korea as a home base and then travel to all the places I want to travel to. Obviously, going back to my birthplace of China, I ended up doing that. The first 4 months I was in Korea, I went back to Beijing, which allowed me to actually physically travel around the globe. Because when I was born in Beijing, we flew west. When I came to Korea from Canada, I flew west. So I ended up physically flying around the world. It took me 39 years, but I physically have flown one circle around the earth. I've never been south of the equator. I want to. I've been close. I'm only 600 kilometers from the equator right now. And a couple months ago, the sun moves so much that it actually was directly above us, and we have like called a zero shadow day. They give you the exact time, and you put like a bottle or something on the ground, there's no shadow underneath. It's really cool. And I've been to Singapore, which is about 150 kilometers away from the equator, but I've never been south. So Bali is definitely on the list of places I want to go to cross the equator once. Guys, if you have questions, especially to my new subscribers, if you have questions, if you want to know something, or if you have a comment, please comment. That really helps, okay? Because I want to engage in like a community kind of thing. Let's keep it, real. we're not always going to agree. One of my greatest supporters, Darren, we hardly agree on a lot of things, but that dialogue we get is respectful and communicative. You know, I agree in some of his opinions, but I choose to take my own path. And that's the thing. We've forgotten how to disagree, but still communicate. And I consider him one of my good friends. We've met like 3 or 4 times here in Sri Lanka, him and his wife. I'm gonna miss him this time when he comes in November, when he comes with his children, well, his adult kids, but because I'm gonna be in Cebu. That's the other thing, I'm gonna be in Cebu for 6 months. 50 days till I leave for Cebu. I'm so excited. You guys are gonna meet Lady Sarah, who's my best friend of 10 years. You're gonna meet my good friend Tim from Korea, who lives in Cebu, is married and lives in Cebu. I've known him for 15 years. So you guys are gonna come along for a great ride, let me tell you. So I'm in South Korea and I'm making decent money and I'm having a great time. I'm partying, I'm single, I'm getting healthier. And then the global situation occurred in 2019, 2020. You guys know what it is. And that affected my work because I was in the entertainment industry and I was in the face-to-face industry. So all that shut down. Hey guys, Sri Lankan Sammi here. Thank you for watching the video. If you like what you're seeing, please think about subscribing and liking. Also, to help the channel get out in front of other people just like you, if you could comment, that will help the algorithm get it out there. And hit that bell icon so that you know when the next video is dropping. I truly appreciate that. If you want to sponsor me, scan the QR code right here or click the link down below, buy me a coconut. Or if you are interested in life coaching, I offer that right here. Scan this QR code or click the link down below. I'm Sri Lankan Sammi, retire in Southeast Asia. We'll see you all on the other side. And now I was living in a nice condo villa on the top of Namsan Mountain with Nam Mountain in central Seoul, which is an upscale neighborhood. Huge 3-bedroom villa with panoramic views of the city. We're up high. I'm at the highest level you can be in Seoul. There were no houses behind me. There was just the mountain. Highly prized. What was that? Highly prized location where all the CEOs and everybody lives. A lot of the CEOs and K-pop stars live in that area. So I'm paying ridiculous amount of money in rent, but now I got that place because I like to have social events. I like to have barbecues and parties and stuff, but now I can't because of the restrictions. You're not allowed to have more than 2 people in a room that aren't related. So I'm thinking, why am I paying all this money? In the beginning, it was like, okay, let's wait a little while, this will be over. But then when we realized that the situation was going to go on for many, many, many years or much longer, I said, you know what? I'm just gonna move to Gangnam. I'm gonna get a smaller place. I'm gonna move so that I can continue my work, which was, face-to-face. And also, I was lucky that the school I worked for continued with their in-class sessions. So I had a steady income. The club closed down, obviously. Well, the club sold 6 months before the global situation started. And the new club I went to closed down. So that caused a lot of problems with my income. So then, what happened? I moved into a smaller place in Gangnam, which is like downtown. And I switched to online teaching eventually. I still had a few, live classes, but towards the end of my time in Korea, I pretty well predominantly moved to online. And I started thinking, why am I spending all this money living in Seoul? I can't see my friends. I can't go out. I can't bring people over. I can't do anything. All I can do is work. And then a couple of other reasons. Number one, cost of living. Korea is very expensive, okay, for food and accommodation. If you include socializing, it's ridiculously expensive. It was drizzling just 5 minutes ago, and now it's sunny. Look at that, love this weather. Ooh, there's a party gonna happen here. There's a party gonna happen here this week. Something's going on down there. Or they're cleaning up. Yeah, they're cleaning up after a party happened this past weekend, because today's Monday morning. So, I'm in Korea. I'm stressed from sitting inside all day, not being able to go out. Can't go on vacation. Well, the vacation plans got canceled that 1 year. And then the second year, I like to go on vacation twice a year, in the spring and in the fall. Both got canceled. Couldn't come to Sri Lanka to visit my family for Christmas, which is what I usually do. Couldn't do that. Hello, puppy. And it was all just like a big, cluster, right? So I'm sitting here going, what am I doing? The second straw, or the second thing, was, again, tied to financial. At that point, let's say 2020, 2021, I was somewhat healthy because I had stopped drinking. I had started exercising. I started eating healthier. I always ate healthy, but I started eating healthier. I started taking medication for my high blood pressure and hypertension and cholesterol and my liver. But stopping drinking helped a lot. I never smoked, so that wasn't an issue. And financially, I've been out of debt for 15 years. No debt, but I had no savings. I had a little bit, but nothing that I could ever retire on. I had enough to, like the emergency fund, the 6 months worth of funds to cover your rent and stuff. Now it's gonna rain again. Look at that. So I'm thinking, you know, I can't keep doing this teaching forever. At that point, I was 50 years old, 52. I'm 56 now, 57 this Christmas. So I kind of said, you know, I can't keep doing this. So what am I gonna do? Well, let's sacrifice and focus on work. So I doubled down and I got these huge contracts. Like I was working 80 hours a week. But not 80 hours a week, about 60 hours a week online, which was so easy for me. Because I don't have to get up and go anywhere. I don't have to do anything. I just walk over from the bed, sit down, and teach a class. And I'm gonna talk about my teaching later on, how I do it, how I work smarter, not harder. And I'm like, I've set myself up for a really good retirement. I just have to sacrifice for 2 to 5 years and I can generate enough money to invest and live off of for the rest of my life. And we're going to talk about that too in the future. How to set yourself up for success. The key, and I'll give you a preview, the key is to work backwards from your goal. So that's what I did. I decided, let's cut the spending. And this is what I'm gonna teach you guys. The key to financial success is not saving money. The key to financial success, write this down, is not spending the money you have. I'm gonna say that again. The key to financial success is not spending the money you have. You may not be able to increase your income, you may not be able to improve your income, but you definitely have control over how much you spend. Definitely. Okay? It's not about saving, it's all about spending, because the savings will take care of itself. If you don't spend, it's all savings. So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna cut my costs and I'm gonna move from South Korea. I'm gonna live in Sri Lanka because I can live for free. Well, I mean, I pay my mom rent, I pay for electricity, I pay for food, I pay for my own internet, I pay my own way. You know, so I'm not a burden on my parents. I live with my mom and dad. We have a house here. That's why I live in the countryside. For me to live on my own, it just wouldn't make sense. I wouldn't be saving any money. So I moved here solely for financial reasons. And, you know, also not social, but family, like to watch over my parents. My dad's 88, my mom's 80. They're healthy, but they're getting there. So somebody has to be here. Now that we have a full-time in-home caregiver, we're going to talk about the people who work in our home a little bit later. We have people who work in our home to help take care of the house and my mom and dad. You know, the little things, cooking, cleaning, medical care. So we have people that are living in the house 24/7, which is a good thing because I can now go away and not have to worry that someone's not taking care of them. And I'm only an hour, 2 hours away by plane. So coming to Sri Lanka was purely a financial and family decision. But now that I've been here for 3 years, I landed 2022 February. So I've been here 3.5 years. When I come back from Cebu, it'll be 4 years since I've been here. But in that time, about 1.5 years, I didn't even live here. I lived Thailand, Philippines. So I've lived twice. Now I will be living twice in the Philippines, once in Thailand, and half a year in Vietnam and Thailand. So the idea is, and we're gonna do this video next video, is where am I going? Why am I living here? Well, it's a home base to figure out where to live. That's the next video. The next video will be about where am I going to live? How do you figure out where you're going to retire? That's what we're going to talk about, and that's what I'm doing. I am figuring out where I'm going to retire. Time to head back home. It's going to rain. So to wrap things up, I chose Sri Lanka because the cost of living is so low. I can live, because I own my own house, for less than $200 a month. Now, if I go out and drink and party and travel, obviously that's more. But the basic living, and this includes going out for dinners once a month, right? And you know, what I'll do is I do some staycations. I'll, you know, once in a while, once every 3 months, I'll do like a staycation. I'll spend like $500 and do a staycation, which I just did. Or I'll rent a motorcycle and travel, which I've done twice. I have my driver's license here. We're going to talk about investments. Having dual passports, huge benefit. Having bank accounts in different countries, huge benefit. Earning money in a rich country and transferring it to a developing nation, huge benefit. Can you do that? See, that's the thing. I'm in a unique situation. I work in a rich country and I transfer my money to a poorer country where the buying power of the converted dollars buys me a lot of local currency. And then I take that local currency and I make it generate money for me. People say, well, the buying power isn't that strong. Yes, outside of the country, but inside, it's what I have to spend. And originally that money was foreign income. Now we're going to talk about taxes for foreigners, for expats, for citizens, bringing in foreign income. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about investing. We're going to talk about all those things in this channel. So I want to thank you guys for joining me, and it is starting to drizzle. So I'm almost home. The next video is going to be about the future. Where am I going? What am I doing? How am I going to get there? And that is going to be the crux of this channel. The heart and soul of this channel is joining me for this adventure on how we're going to get to the end game. I'm Sri Lankan Sammi, retire in Southeast Asia with Sammi. I want you guys to remember, please, learn to live life. Don't let life live you. And always be good to each other, okay? Please, be kind to each other. And remember, we're not strangers. We're just friends who haven't met yet. We'll see you all on the other side.